Okay, so I have completed, or am finishing the 27th row on the single crochet mulberry dishcloth. And I call these farmhouse ones because they're pretty good sized. You'd only be able to get 2 of these out of any ball of yarn. If you have 2 skeins of yarn, though, you're probably going to be able to get 5 total instead of 4, because you do end up with a nice little leftover batch, or you can make little face scrubbies with the ones that are left over, which is probably what I will do since it is Christmas season and I'm making bath bombs and bath salts and some body butter and stuff to give away. Okay, so here is our very final stitch. So you can see that nice little V shape right there. Okay, so here's our last stitch. And in this last stitch, I'm going to go ahead and pull my hook out and pull the yarn so that it doesn't go anywhere. But in this very last stitch, I'm going to put a stitch marker. Now, oftentimes I use bobby pins because I always have them in my hair, and unless I have planned ahead, I'm missing all of my little things because they're in another bag or in another room or downstairs or whatever. So I really love these little stitch markers. My fiance got me them on eBay for like $3 for 100 of them. So never ever buy stitch markers from Joann's, Michael's, or Hobby Lobby because they're like $6 or $7 for 20 of them. Definitely get them off of eBay. They're wonderful. And like my thing comes in all different little colors. I'll try to post a link to that down below. Okay, so, and if you want to test it out, see how it comes out, and it is perfectly square. Okay, you can block these. I've never found a need to actually block these, or actually anything I'm scared to block. One of these days somebody's gonna have to hold my hand and show me how to block stuff because I've been too nervous to try it so far. But here we go. Okay, so but you want to mark your beginning place, because after you go around with single crochet, since it is all single crochet, you will have a hard time finding exactly where you started. Even for those of us who've been doing it a long time, I have a hard time finding where I started. Okay, so in order to make a border all the way around, okay, you're going to start in this first little hole. Okay. Okay, so there's the first hole that you're going to start. And in each corner, you're going to do 3 single crochets. Okay, so through the hole, yarn over 2 loops. There's 1. There's 2. And there is 3. Okay, so that makes the nice turning. You want to make sure that your corners are not super tight for your tension, or they're going to start curling up a little bit. That's also going to happen on the slip stitch if you're not nice and loose with your tension. Okay, and then you're going to see, so this is doing the side, and the sides are always hard, and you're probably going to have to rip out your first side several times to get it right. I still occasionally have to rip them out, especially if I'm doing something more difficult than single crochet. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to find each hole, and you're just going to do a single crochet in each hole. Now, if that starts spreading your dishcloth out, then what we're going to do is we'll pull a couple out, and we'll just skip like every 5th or 6th row to make sure that that it stays nice and square. Okay. So we've got the 3 there, the 3 in the corner. Okay, and here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like it's going okay so far. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so there's 25 in between. The 26th was, of course, the corner, and the 27th is going to be the corner again. So it ends up being just as many, since this is the side, this is how many rows that we did tall. So there's 27 rows and 27 stitches, including both corners. So now that we're at a corner again, we're going to do 3 in the corner. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and here's also where our tail is. So I'm actually going to just lay it on top as I'm crocheting and crochet most of it in, probably about halfway. And then when I thread it through the yarn needle, then I'll go back the other way to really lock it in. Okay, and again, you're just looking for the same holes like like we did on the side. Okay, and you should end up with 25, including that corner. Or 24, sorry, including the corner. So we'll call this number 2, because the first one was in that set of 3 in the corner. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's about half. So I'm just going to drop that tail behind and continue. And here's the corner. It's just our 24 stitch or 24th stitch, and then the extra 2, right, so that we have a total of 3 in the corner. Ooh. Okay, so you can see what that looks like so far. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do another 27 stitches up, 3 in the corner, and 24 across, and I'll stop just short, or I'll come back a few stitches before I hit the end. Okay, And here we are almost at the end. Okay, so here is the stitch marker. So actually just gonna pull that out, and it's pretty easy to see now that it's right there. So I have 1, 2, and here's where my stitch marker was. So I know that this is the one where I slip stitch to join. Okay. So you can stop right here with just the single crochet border. If you would like, you can not put a border on it. That is totally okay too. I have some that I did in a different funky pattern that I really liked how it came out without a border. All of the ones in this set are going to have the exact same border. So, so we have the single crochet border, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch all the way around it. Slip stitch is another stitch that you need to get pretty comfortable working with because you're going to use it a lot. In the next set of dishcloths that we do, there's something called a crunch stitch, which is a half double crochet and then a slip stitch, and the pattern or the texture that it gives is just unreal. It's just beautiful. So this is a really good chance for you to practice doing that before we actually get to that. Okay, so you're just going to chain 1, and then you're going to go through the first stitch, yarn over, pull through, and instead of, you know, now yarn over and then doing again, you're going to go ahead and just pull through that second loop too. Okay, so there is no other yarn over or anything. And remember, these need to be nice and loose, so watch your tension. Okay, so pull through and pull through the one that's already on your hook. And now you don't have to count or anything, you just follow the stitches exactly that you made. Yarn over and pull through. Yarn over, okay, and then pull through. Go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch and through the next stitch. And this part never goes like super duper fast because I always seem to get hung up on that last stitch, like it just never goes through quite as smoothly. And as soon as we get just around this corner, I'll show you what it looks like. Keep the tension nice and loose on the corners so that they don't roll. Okay, so doing the slip stitch, as you'll notice, it just gives kind of that same V pattern, but it puts it just right on top of the border. So I just like how nice and finished that looks, but it's totally optional to do. So you can finish it off again with just the single crochet, you can slip stitch all the way around, or you can just leave the border completely off. I will check back with you when I'm all the way around. I'm gonna put my stitch marker back in so that I can tell when I'm all the way around. And then we just have to weave in our ends and we will be done.